Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we have an opportunity to be in the 22 Lincoln Aviator, sister car to the Ford Explorer. So this is my father-in-law's car. We've been talking about it for a few years. He is the car enthusiast. He bought this car new. It was not very cheap to get, and he's tired of it. He's ready to move on from it. Why would he want to move away from Lincoln? We'll talk about that here in a second. But let's just walk around this car real quick, and then we'll get his input on it, and then I'll come back and say what I thought of it. So here is the car right here. One thing we can kind of ding them is they put 22-inch rims on there, so if you want to swap out the OEM tire, get ready to ride it big, check for that bad boy. But I mean, the car itself does look really good with all this black. He had the roof blacked out from a local wrap company, so that wasn't done from the factory, but if you got the black label, I think you could get the black roof. But it's a handsome car. Now we're going to hop in, he's going to drive us back to the house, and he's going to tell us his thoughts, things that he didn't like, and why he's already ready to move on from such a nice car and what he's going to. All right, so we're inside here. You can kind of see captain's chairs in the middle. I mean, this is basically, other than being a black label, which you get the Alcantara headliner and a few other things, rolled Napa leather and whatnot, this is the top of the line, man. This is the Cadillac of Ford. So, you know, you look at these seats, it's got the 872 adjustment seat on it. They are comfortable. They're a little firm for what I thought of Lincoln town cars of old and Lincoln Continentals of the old days. Soft, squishy seats. At some point, they said we're going to have a firmer seat. But when you start adding all of these massaging elements and functionality elements, then they're going to get firmer. You can't put that kind of tech into a seat and not have it be firmer, but they are very comfortable, and he only has 16,000 miles. The leather's held up pretty well. So sometimes manufacturers just don't put that grade of leather in there, and we all know that Ford's now switching most of their leather from their lower packages down to a Syntex. So as we cruise around here, it's got a very nice sound system. This is a B&O, correct?
This is actually the rival sound system, which is a few notches above the B&O. I mean, it's this particular system, even though it's not a black label, it has 28 speakers throughout the car, and it's got like almost 1,000 watts if you were to go ahead and put the stereo on. It's an amazing stereo, and like you were mentioning, the seats are the what they call the perfect position. So every aspect of the seat itself can be altered to exactly what the individual wants. Even underneath your legs, I can lower and raise one leg compared to the other. So you're really sitting in an absolute and truly perfect position within the car itself. But you're absolutely right. The seats are firm. The seats have a very firm fit and feel. It's like being almost in a race car. It really, it's molded to the individual that is driving the vehicle itself.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. I think when you're spending that much money on a car like this, it's obviously a GT type car. It's a tour car. You're going to be riding in it. The seat should have all that functionality, so you can constantly change up the position if you need to. But overall, I mean, the seats are nice. Great stereo system. It does have like electronically controlled air ride or something like that. It'll lower and go up as you need for like egress, ingress, stuff like that.
Absolutely. If you put it into the snow mode, this suspension will raise itself almost 4 inches from the normal positioning. And then when you park it, it drops down almost 2.5 inches. So really the frame of the car is right up against the top of the tire for easy exit and entrance.
So that's some really cool features, although that might potentially lead to problems in the long run. More moving parts, more potential issues, but hopefully that's something that held up. Now, the car has plenty of power. We got a big old twin turbo.
Yeah, we got a 3.0 liter, which is really a derivative of the 2.7 liter, the Nano V6 that Ford puts out. They bored out 30 over to go ahead 30 thousandths over to make it a 3.0. Put twin turbos on it and kick it up to 400 horsepower with 415 pounds of foot-pounds of torque. the machine absolutely has the power it needs, and it really needs it for the size of this vehicle. It's a pretty heavy vehicle.
Yeah, definitely a heavy luxury car type ride-in, so it needs the power, and it actually returns pretty decent fuel economy. You're saying you got in the 20s roughly.
You know, if highway driving, you're sitting right around that 25 miles per gallon. I kind of like you. I don't drive like a bat out of hell. You know, you drive the vehicle like you respect the vehicle, and lo and behold, you can really get some good performance and MPGs. And there's my favorite car right there of all time.
GT?
It's actually a Cobra. 64 Cobra with 427. Oh.
Although that won't fit the family as well.
Yeah, it won't, but in that case, I probably wouldn't matter.
Right. So we got plenty of power. We got nice amenities. There are some afterthought things that we talked about in here.
You know, where you want to put your hands where the thickest part is, and you can wrap it, but one small move, and all of a sudden you're cancel. You bring up the whole system. You bring up the whole system for the, you know, for what you want to do from a telephone call. If you want to enter your map, you can obviously tell that a lot of these, there's certain elements within the car that are absolutely afterthoughts. This, you've almost got to put your hand around to try to hit the on and off button. You know, would it have been better here in this location? Yeah. You know, this in the 2025 Aviator, they've moved all of these switches over and put the start and stop button here a little bit better, functionally a little bit better. The actual charger for your cell phone, God forbid you put your cell phone here, with the present recall that I have, it'll actually make this screen blink to the point where you can't really see the screen very well. But if I move it just a little bit over to the right, you don't have the electromagnetism of the phone interfering with the wiring within the car. But the actual charging mechanism sits inside the center console, and it's a little carriage up your phone into.
Just kind of odd.
Just odd.
You know, they make this beautiful car. They were focused on a lot of details, and then they forgot some of the very important ones at the end. You know, they didn't even put a mute button on the steering wheel.
There's no mute button anywhere.
That's odd. And you guys could see the screen. This is a nice looking screen, but it's pretty small, and it looks like the Sync 3 from my 22 F250. Other than it is sharper, I don't think you said the camera resolution was any better.
No, the camera resolution isn't anything to write home about. I mean, it's not bad. It works. It functions. But you would think in a luxury vehicle that it would be a lot better. And they've updated that for the 2025. That does have the Sync 4 that gives you a lot more control from a technology perspective. Much more video capabilities than this particular version here.
Right. And how many recalls has this vehicle had?
I've had 9. The last 3 I've had for a year. There is a recall right now for, of course, the electromagnetism of the phone as it interferes with video. There's also another recall for the transmission. It may not be this model, but there was, issues with 22s that were built in a certain array that had engine, the 3.0, where it would actually disintegrate the engine. Then there's another recall for, I think, the 21, not the 22, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it doesn't carry over, where the seat hardware is not put together properly, and the seats, in God forbid in a crash, could come apart.
And that's insane. And so after having this such a beautiful car, obviously it's expensive, he's had enough. He's ready to move on to something different. Tired of the recalls, can't be fixed, won't get it done, can't do it, and they just keep compounding. They just come out with more and more. And nobody's immune from that. All the manufacturers have them, but some do much more better than others. Ford is tied now with Stellantis, having the most recalls for this year. And so, you know, if you're looking GM or whatever, but it's sad that he's already to move on from such a beautiful car. But what are you going to move into, believe it or not?
I'm actually going to a Hyundai Palisade calligraphy model, and to be honest, it actually drives better than the Lincoln. It's quieter, it's a better, more enjoyable ride. It does not have the power that this has, but again, when you're not driving it for the power, 291 horsepower compared to 400. I mean, you know, it's not anything that I'm gonna really miss.
Right. And I took about 10 minutes driving this before we got him back in here so we could talk about it, because he knows the car way better than me, and I always want to drive it before he gets rid of it. It is a nice car. For me, not that kind of price niceness, but I mean, if it was a perfect world where no problems were, then I would say yes, but not for that kind of money. I would be in a Ford Explorer XLT with the base vinyl leather, whatever that thing has in it.
Yeah.
The little 2.3 EcoBoost, whatever that is in there, and spend 42. Because new calligraphy is right around 51. This car is not anywhere near any of those numbers. It's well above the 80 point. And so you have to then make a decision, is that car for you? Nice car to drive for sure. I think he's going to like the Honda a little bit better warranty, better. He said it drives better. We'll probably have that on the channel at some point. But yeah, it is a nice car. He's ready to move on, and just imagine the 25s are going to have that much more stuff in it, that many more potential problems as they worm their way out. But at the end of the day, would you buy this car again?
No. And I kind of mentioned to you earlier, you know, and I have family that is that works at Ford, and literally this is my last Ford that I'll own.
That's crazy. That is crazy. But you heard it from the guy first. He's moving on from Ford, and if Loki gives me any more problems, I'll probably move on too. But I appreciate him coming back, letting him share his car with us, and he'll bring back the Honda here soon. We'll do a nice review on that, and we're going to catch you on the next one.